tracking what happens for you in your body as somebody else is talking is going to give you clues to where your work is. So again, if Heather's saying something and she's talking about something that, you know, maybe her relationship or something in an experiential, and I start feeling stuff, I make a note of that. I put it in the survey so that I'm aware of it, and we start to address it. Maybe there's time even to bring it up in the call to say, here's what happened in my body. I totally went out the window. I realized I couldn't feel my body anymore, or I felt really angry, or I felt really anxious. That's going to happen because we're hearing things about life. Okay. And so that the woman at the meditation retreat, like, I felt great because I've done a lot of trauma work on myself. I consistently do trauma work on myself. I still do trauma work on myself. I go to therapy, right? I don't feel as triggered as I used to 5-10 years ago before doing this work. That is my hope for you eventually. It's for you to just be able to be in your body, be at ease, be awake, be alert, and whatever arises in your body, you're able to ride the wave and come out the other side. It doesn't get stuck. Okay. So I have 6 months of content laid out for you. And a little bit more about me. If you're newer to me, a lot of you know me, but if you're newer to me, I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and a somatic experiencing practitioner, we go through over 3 years of training to become fully certified in somatic experiencing. And it's kind of like an additional master's degree. Okay. I also used to teach yoga full time. I was a wilderness therapist, so I was working with really at-risk youth and young adults with really complex case presentations. And I love this work, and I love helping you all because I love seeing the needle move. That's a big value of mine. I want to see the needle move for you in your lives. I don't want you walking out of here like, huh? What did we talk about for 6 months? And if you're not processing things cognitively, then I need to know that, because that's telling me you're not actually in your body, and your frontal lobe is not getting enough blood flow. And we're going to talk more about brain and nervous system neuroscience stuff. Okay. So if you're not processing things, we want to be tracking that. Okay. And then so again, the other goal for you that I have is to lay a solid foundation that's going to give you much more of a sense of resilience. Now, as they say in AA, if you've been driving 100 miles into the forest, how many miles out is it? Anybody want to let me know? Megan's face. You can unmute yourselves if you want. If I drive 100 miles into the forest, how many miles out is it? It's going to sound, you're going to be like, it's the most obvious answer.
Is it the 100 miles?
Mm-hmm.
I should know this.
It's 100 miles out. So if you've been dissociating and you've been out of your body and you never learned how to be in your body or track sensation or any of the skills I'm going to be teaching you, please don't beat yourself up. You've been practicing the opposite for most of your life. And I know most of you, and nobody's under, Lauren, nobody's under like 20 years old. Everybody's been practicing this for a while. You've got like a few decades of whatever somatic nervous system wiring you have going on. Okay. But we want to lay a foundation. I want to help you understand why and what we're doing. Okay. Okay. So again, taking notes. If you feel triggered by somebody else's content, write it down. Let me know. Track your body. This is going to be such valuable information for you. And building resilience in your system is going to allow you to sit with another's pain without trying to rescue them from it, without trying to fix it. And this is going to directly then correlate to your ability to be in a relationship. Right? Does this make sense? Okay, because if I notice, like Annie's sharing her pain, and I want to jump in and I want to fix it for her, I'm noticing there's a pattern in myself because of course I don't want anybody to be in pain. None of us wake up like trying to be an ass, hoping pain for other people. Okay, I'm a little irreverent in here too, guys. I cuss sometimes. I tell jokes. I'm not just, we're not just going to be like, I want to keep you awake. And if you're falling asleep, let me know. But does this make sense, right? Like I'm going to notice the patterns that show up for me in relation to other people. And then this is going to be a direct piece of data for me about how I show up in all my other relationships. So it's not just trauma resolution. It's not just stress reduction. It's how do I show up in every moment of my life? And how and I'm going to know that because it's going to happen in my body. And the more you start to track your body, the more you're going to start to feel it. And you're going to feel you've got these like compulsive urges in this example to step in and fix somebody's pain for them. And there's nothing more disempowering to other people than trying to fix their pain for them. Because if I tell Annie, like, hey, let me try to fix this for you by giving you a solution or telling you what I did, then what I'm telling her subconsciously is you can't handle it. You can't do it. That feels really bad for people. It doesn't feel helpful. So part of the process here is I want you to be tracking and that's just an example again of like what I might notice in relation to somebody else. Okay. And there's no right or wrong in here. There's literally no right or wrong. It's all data. And I want you to be taking notes because I want you to come back to these pieces and be like, oh, I'm judging myself for doing XYZ thing. The more I'm aware of it, the more I realize I'm judging myself. And all it is data. Okay. Maybe there's somebody here who actually works in like data analysis. It's just like, we're just tracking a bunch of numbers. That's it. And this work is that way. I want to remove the shame and the judgment that you have towards yourself for whatever patterns you've been habitually experiencing. Okay. All right. Also, it's very helpful. And I know some of you are doing things and you let us know before. It's always helpful for me to be able to see your faces. So I know, that you're not in la la land, because la la land is actually being checked out, zoned out, dissociated. I'm not judging you for it. I'm saying, hey, what's happening that you're not here? Okay. So I want to be able to track you that way. And then experientials. So we're going to have experientials each week, and you can sign up for them in your survey, in your weekly survey. We will spend, what that looks like is you and I come on and I work with you one-on-one, and you can either allow everybody to have their cameras on or off. It's up to you. You're the participant. Some people like to feel the connection. Other people are like, I can't. I just want to look at you and pretend nobody else is here. And that's totally normal and okay. But we're going to do experientials, and I'm going to walk with you through through what's happening in that exercise for you. Okay. Okie doke. There are no mistakes that you can make in here. And this is something that I work really hard. Hopefully, if you've been working with me one-on-one, I work really hard to help people understand that there is no right or wrong. And you can't make a mistake in here because it's just information. It's just data about where you are. And then we work with that. I used to tell kids in wilderness because they would lie about stuff all the time. And I'd be like, I'm like, homie, you're going to be here a while. Like if you keep lying and hiding stuff, I mean, like, it's fine, but like, I'm happy. I will just leave, or like, we don't have to do the session, or just be honest. Like, it's going to go by way faster, and you're going to be out of wilderness in 12 weeks instead of 20, And like, so I'd laugh. I'd be like, we can work with honest. We can work with dishonest too. I'm not saying you guys are lying or anything like that, but we often hide things we don't want to look at. And that's all part of the work. And so I would say to the kids who were, again, maybe consistently lying or hiding things, it's like, we can work with that, but it's just going to take you a lot longer. And maybe it's like, oh, I don't want to share this publicly. Totally fine. Share it with me in the survey. Just you and me in there. Okay. If I'm teaching a skill, I will have the chat off. Hold your questions until the end. And then if I'm in an experiential, if we're in an experiential, chat will be off. Okay. Chatting while somebody's talking is kind of like it's kind of like being the kid in the back row of the classroom and who's like whispering the whole time. And you're like, would you like to share it with the class, please? like it's like passing notes, it's like there's this Zoom etiquette I think that we've all kind of learned. Thank you for bringing that in, Patricia, because it can just be distracting, and people have the best of intentions. I'm not saying, it's just like, hey, we're going to just hold your questions until the end. And then when we do an experiential, you can just comment about how it impacted you. And please don't comment on or make interpretations of what you think the person's work is, or starts, armchair therapizing them or things like that. We don't need that. Okay. We're just there to kind of say, here's what happened for me. Or you can ask them, hey, Megan had an experiential. Megan, could I speak to one piece? And I have a question about that. And I wondered about this part. Does this make sense? Okay. The safety in here is of the utmost importance, because without the safety, there's people are going to not want to engage. And if you don't feel like you can engage, I want to know that. And I want to know why, because I care about you showing up, and I care about you getting something out of this. And I care about your body being positive and your life being positively impacted by that. Okay. Okay. All right. Great questions. Anything else? Not necessarily. I mean, I think for, the value of being on live for yoga, for instance, is for me to be able to see your body and to say, hey, Lauren, knees are actually on the floor versus hovering. Actually we're in downward dog, not child's pose or something. You know what I mean? Getting that feedback. Meditations you can absolutely do on your own, and you can always watch these recordings after the fact. I would just be sure you do it. Just go back, be sure that you get the recording in. And of course, the experientials are designed to help you live. So if all you did, you guys, was come to one, and I'm not encouraging you to not come to stuff, but if all you did was one somatic call a week, you would get a ton out of it. And watch the rest of the recordings. Now, of course, I want you on live. I want to see your lovely faces. And I can tell, because especially if you are on the dissociative side of things, and you're not going to know that you are until you've done this work, because that's the whole nature of dissociation, I'm not going to be able to see you, and I won't be able to help you. So if you tend to be, we're going to go through some symptoms, but if you tend to be checked out on your devices, even some rumination or feeling zoned out, spacey, foggy, even lapse in memories, that's a sign that you're not fully here. If that's you, I want you here more. If you're a longer term client with me, you know what's happening in your body. You're more in the fight and flight side of things, and you're like, I'm just fucking angry all the time. That's a different thing. You're a little more here. And again, we're going to talk about what that means more. Okay. Does this make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So it depends. And of course, and I want to give us breaks. So 4th of July week, we're going to take a break. We're going to have little integration weeks. It's not meant to just be push, push, push all the time. Okay. Great.